In 1,187 days, you will lose your house. The one you painted yourself. The one your kids grew up in. This is how Lehman Brothers destroys your life. 1,187 days until collapse. January 15th, 2005. You're 34. Teacher, Columbus, Ohio. You and your wife have been renting for 8 years. You're tired of renting. A mortgage broker calls you out of nowhere. Rates are incredible right now. Best time in 20 years to buy. You go to his office. Nice suit. Framed certificates on the wall. He runs the numbers in 30 seconds. You qualify for $340,000. You make $52,000 a year combined. You don't ask how that's possible. He's the expert. He does this every day. You've never bought a house before. You find a house. 3 bedrooms. Small yard. Good school district. $310,000. You shake his hand. You sign the papers. Your wife cries a little in the car on the way home. Happy tears. The timer starts. 892 days until collapse. November 2nd, 2006. First year goes fine. Payments are manageable. The neighborhood feels right. Your daughter starts kindergarten 3 blocks away. Then the letter arrives. Your mortgage rate is adjusting. Monthly payment, up $340. You call the broker. Totally normal. Just refinance in 6 months. Values keep going up. You refinance. New terms. Lower rate for now. Higher later. You sign again. You don't read the small print. Nobody does. The broker is already on his next client. 623 days until collapse. August 10th, 2007. Something is wrong with the housing market. You read it in the newspaper, but it feels far away. Your neighbor just listed his house for $280,000. He paid $315,000 2 years ago. You check Zillow. Your house, estimated $270,000. You owe $318,000. You are underwater. You don't fully understand what that means yet, but your stomach does. You call the broker. Number disconnected. Let's pause the countdown for a moment. What just happened to you only makes sense if you understand the machinery underneath. 3 mechanisms. Let's go. 1. Subprime mortgages. You remember the broker who qualified you in 30 seconds? He didn't care if you could repay the loan. He got paid the moment you signed. Banks were giving mortgages to anyone. No income verification, no down payment, sometimes no questions at all. They called them subprime. Fancy word for loans that probably won't be repaid. But the banks didn't care because they weren't keeping the loans. They were selling them. To Wall Street. 2. The CDO. Here's where it gets creative. Lehman Brothers and others took thousands of those subprime mortgages and bundled them together into a product called a CDO, collateralized debt obligation. Think of it like a sausage. You don't want to know what's inside, but it looks great in the package. They took thousands of bad loans, sliced them up, repackaged them, and sold them to pension funds, insurance companies, and investors worldwide as safe investments. Rating agencies stamped them AAA, the highest possible rating. Same as U.S. Treasury bonds. Why? Because the rating agencies were paid by the banks they were rating. Everyone was selling. Everyone was buying. Nobody was checking. 3. Repo 105. But Lehman had a specific problem. By 2007, they were sitting on hundreds of billions of toxic assets. CDOs nobody wanted anymore. So they invented a trick called Repo 105. Every quarter, right before publishing their financial results, Lehman temporarily moved $50 billion of bad assets off their balance sheet. Technically sold them to a counterparty. In reality, just parked them for a few days. Balance sheet looks clean. Results get published. Investors stay calm. Then the $50 billion quietly comes back. The auditors knew. Ernst & Young signed off anyway. The watchdog didn't bark. 365 days until collapse. September 15th, 2007. Bear Stearns is in trouble. 2 of their hedge funds just collapsed. The news says it's contained. You call your bank. Is my mortgage okay? The woman on the phone sounds tired. Your mortgage is fine, sir. Your rate adjusts again next month. New payment, $2,340. You make $4,100 a month after tax. You stop going out to dinner. Your wife picks up a second job. You tell your daughter the vacation is next year. She doesn't complain. She's 7. She doesn't understand yet. Lehman Brothers stock, $60. Dick Fuld, CEO, compensation this year, $34 million. 180 days until collapse. March 17, 2008. Bear Stearns collapses over a weekend. The Federal Reserve arranges a rescue. Lehman stock drops 40% in a day, then recovers. Lehman is fine, the analysts say. Too big to fail, the newspapers say. You miss your first mortgage payment. Not because you don't want to pay, because you literally don't have the money. You call the bank to discuss options. You are put on hold for 47 minutes, then disconnected. 7 days until collapse. September 8, 2008. You've missed 3 payments. Foreclosure notice arrived last week. You have a lawyer now. $200 an hour you don't have. Your daughter asks why there are boxes in the living room. We're reorganizing, you say. Lehman Brothers is desperately looking for a buyer. Korea Development Bank, Barclays, Bank of America. Everyone walks away. Dick Fuld calls Treasury Secretary Paulson personally. Paulson doesn't call back. Day 0, September 15th, 2008. 6 a.m. Your phone buzzes. Your brother texting. Turn on the news. 6:03 a.m. Lehman Brothers files for bankruptcy. $639 billion. Largest in American history. 6:05 a.m. You watch the news anchor explain it. She uses words like systemic and contagion. 6:06 a.m. You think about your mortgage, your rate, your missed payments. 6:07 a.m. You realize it doesn't matter anymore. The damage is done. 8:30 a.m. Stock market opens. Dow drops 500 points in the first hour. 10:15 a.m. You get a call from the bank's foreclosure department. Not a person, an automated system. 10:16 a.m. You hang up and sit at the kitchen table. Your daughter's drawings are still on the fridge. The yard you painted last summer, the school 3 blocks away. You have 90 days to leave. Epilogue. Today, 2026. Dick Fuld lives in a $14 million townhouse in Manhattan. No criminal charges. Compensation during his tenure, $500 million. The U.S. government bailed out AIG, Goldman Sachs, Citibank. $700 billion of taxpayer money. Not one senior Wall Street banker went to prison. You're 55, renting again, different city, smaller place. Your daughter is in college, student loans. At a cookout, your coworker won't stop talking about his real estate portfolio. 3 properties, all financed with DSCR loans. No income verification. The cash flow covers everything. What happens if vacancy goes up, you ask? Won't happen. Rental demand is insane right now. What if rates adjust? He waves his hand. I'll refinance. Values only go up. You have heard every single one of those sentences before, word for word, in a broker's office in Columbus, Ohio in 2005. You look at him, same smile, same certainty, same unasked questions. Good luck, you say. His countdown has already started. The 2008 financial crisis wiped out $8 trillion in American household wealth. 10 million Americans lost their homes. Not one senior Wall Street executive went to prison. Lehman Brothers paid out $5 billion in bonuses in the year before its collapse. The mortgage broker who called you in 2005 is still in the business.